it would save you from being disappointed. It's probably not a good idea to pre-order right off the bat. Don't act on your emotions. Give it a second, think about it, and then proceed accordingly. I am not going to pre-order this game. Not a single chance in hell. I'm going to wait and see if the game is actually good and see if the hype around it is actually what it is. Oh dear God, it is here. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It is finally here after all this time. I am 100% certain that basically every single one of you guys watching this video right now has seen the YouTubers online, or maybe just your friends or whatnot, talking about how people have not enjoyed the game. Usually the points that I've seen have come around to, oh, the multiplayer is bad, or the guns feel like toys, you know, etc., stuff like that. The Rant Channel actually has a pretty funny video on how the multiplayer for Cold War sucks. I would not take that as 100% fact, but it is a funny watch, and there's probably some pretty solid points in there that maybe you guys would like to be aware of. So I definitely recommend checking out his video. The only thing is he curses a lot, so if you are not fond of cursing, like so many of you have been with my videos, then do not watch that video. But with how this game has been affecting reviews, it almost seems like my prediction originally was correct. However, many who have watched my first Cold War video have either supported me, my opinions, and my content, or they've cursed me off and said I don't know what I'm talking about, or told me I cannot judge something that I have not played. This last point is simply not true at all. This may hold water if the thing I was trying out was something I've never played before. However, when there's a series of games, this is a whole different story. I grew up playing Call of Duty, starting at COD 3, and have played every single one up until now. I'm sure if you guys don't like a kind of food, let's say apples, you're not going to like any dish that comes with apples as a part of it. This point of you haven't played it, therefore you know nothing is a logical fallacy. But you know what? Fine. I'll play your game. FYI, I didn't pre-order the game for those of you who think I'm being a major hypocrite right now, which I guess I sort of am. But my goal in this video is to provide you guys with the most unbiased opinion on Cold War as possible, which is already a task all in itself considering my previous videos and, you know, the fact that I grew up playing Call of Duty, but nonetheless, that is my effort here. Now, I absolutely hate when big game reviewers review games. Almost 100% of the time, large YouTube reviewers or companies are paid to uplift a game and make it seem better than it actually is. So fuck you to the people who don't explicitly say that they got some kind of benefit from reviewing a game, like a free copy or money in exchange. I'm a guy with 500 subscribers, so that's not even close to the case right now, which means I paid for the game. I bought it. It's my money. So everything's coming out of my wallet, and all the opinions are coming based off of the fact that I went out of my way to purchase this game, even though I really didn't want to. But you know, I hope the content is going to be worth it for you guys, because I would rather spend the 75 bucks to make good videos than not spend any at all and talk about things you guys are not interested in. By the way, if you're subscribed to me right now, I genuinely appreciate all the support. Like, sincerely. I managed to go from 34 subs back on like August 11th this year to a tad bit over 500 only like 3 months later. So genuinely, like seriously, thank you all so much. Also, the YouTuber Ranton has a seriously good video regarding review copies and whatnot, so I'm going to link that video in the description and put a thumbnail up on the screen. I definitely recommend checking out that video after this one, in case you guys are wondering why I said what I said a second ago about how I don't like a lot of large game reviewers or companies. So definitely check that out so you guys have some context. Now, I've decided to take the fairest position possible with Cold War. I fucking hate it when reviewers place one value on a game, usually out of 10, i.e. IGN, to make the most ridiculous summarization of a game as a whole. This makes no fucking sense to me. Because what if the zombies in Cold War is amazing, but the multiplayer is complete garbage, like the worst you've seen? Well, then the final value gets skewed because of something like this. So as a result, I will be splitting up this game into 3 sections, dedicated to 3 videos: multiplayer, zombies, and campaign, each getting their own score at the end and their own analysis, which I will try as hard as I can to get out to you guys as soon as possible. These videos do take a while to make, and I am in college, so I'm trying to split up my time evenly while still being able to graduate, and it becomes a task every once in a while. But I want to place a large importance on YouTube because I genuinely want these videos to be good for you guys. This video specifically will cover the multiplayer of Cold War with no outside influences to fuck up my score of this portion of the game. Also, these 3 reviews will consist of the most vanilla version of Cold War possible, and what I mean by this is from when you launch the game for the first time and you begin playing with absolutely no settings changed. I'm doing this because this is how Treyarch wanted us to experience our first moments of this game, so this is their representation of what they wanted us to see. This is to keep it as simple and fair as possible. I feel like I shouldn't have to address this, but I feel like I also should at the same time, so I will regardless. There are obviously settings to turn some of the things I'm going to be talking about off. However, that's not the way Treyarch essentially wanted us to see the game. That is us manipulating the game to cater to our unique playstyles. So by tossing the ability to change those settings out the window and reviewing the game from literally the get-go, it's making my review as fair as possible. So if I say something that you guys immediately think, oh, but you can change it in settings, know that I do not care about that for this review. I will also be reviewing this game out of 100 for the most accurate depiction of what I think this game is rated. This is not a quiz, this is a test. Accurate scores are necessary and anything else is bullshit. Now without further ado, let's tackle this review. I want to start off with the pros of this game. I want to be able to highlight all the things that are really good because I feel like a lot of you are going to want to see that first. So that's why I decided to start off with the pros. I'm not sure why so many people said the guns feel like toys because I didn't think that too much. Maybe in their appearance, but really not their feel. Shooting felt pretty solid in my opinion. Also, killing people felt pretty rewarding, and I'm not a psychopath, but it's true. Whenever you killed somebody in the game, it did feel like you accomplished something. It didn't feel like you just kind of shot at a dummy or shot at some bot and then you just moved on to the next person. Every single thing you did in the game felt pretty rewarding. This is in-match in multiplayer, by the way. Also, the majority of the game modes are classic game modes. They didn't really go out of their way to change too much about the game modes. They brought back exactly what most people were basically looking for, which is a good thing and also a bad thing, but I wrote it as a good thing because it means I'm familiar with all these game modes already, at least for the most part, all of them, so I can jump right in and not have to worry about trying to learn a whole new game mode along with a whole new game and a whole new movement system and this and that. So the classic game modes, I do want to say, is a pro in my opinion, but can be manipulated to be a con. The constant rewards, by the way, for playing multiplayer entices people to play more. As I was playing through, the medals I was getting and the challenges I was completing were all over the place, and it was actually really interesting because every time I saw that I got a reward, it always made me want to continue to play another game, which I find incredibly huge. When a game can entice you to continue playing it or give you something for essentially not that much of doing, basically just doing exactly what you would normally do in a map, I feel like that's incredibly good game design. You want to reward your players for playing your game, and Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War seems to be doing that in a fairly solid way so far. Also, the graphics are not too bad, as some people might say. I've seen so many fucking people talk about how the graphics suck for this game. Now the thing is, I have a 4K TV, and my console is a 4K console. I played on the Xbox Series X, by the way, if that matters. So any of you PlayStation fanboys, you can just roast me in the comments or whatever. But I did play on a 4K TV with an Xbox Series X. So I was playing in 4K, which means everything was, of course, going to look a lot better than if you were playing on a 1920 by 1080 TV. So I'm not entirely sure how awful the graphics looked on those kinds of TVs. However, on my TV, I didn't think it looked that bad. I thought it looked fairly solid. I don't think it looked necessarily as good as Modern Warfare, but I'm expecting the campaign to make everything really pop. The multiplayer, not too much. But again, I didn't think the graphics were as bad as other people might say. Also, what I found was amazing was the fact that players are the most predictable possible. Literally everyone's movements can be predicted well before they even do it, making the killing in this game way easier than normal. If you look at the clips that I have in front of you guys right now on the screen, there's probably at least a few times by now I would expect where I've gotten into a gunfight with somebody and they've run away and I've been able to predict their movement literally every single time. There's really not many people switching it up, which is interesting, but I did like that because it was super easy to get high kill games. Also, the assists don't seem to exist anymore, which is amazing. In older CODs, especially if you grew up playing like Modern Warfare 2 or anything like that, a lot of the times you would hear people complaining about other people stealing their kills, right? You would get an assist, you wouldn't get the kill, you would get like 20 fucking XP, and that would just kind of be it. You wouldn't really get too much out of it. However, it seems to be that in Cold War, assists don't actually exist anymore, which means if you shoot somebody enough times and then someone else kills that person that you were shooting at, you'll actually get the elimination for it, which I find amazing. I absolutely love this. This completely gets rid of the aggravating talk like, you stole my kill, asshole, over the fucking microphone, and I love that. That's amazing. That's a huge improvement to this game. The sound design is also pretty solid, nothing really cringy, and selling the environment you're in works pretty well. I don't think that the audio in the game, like anything that people say to you in the game, not necessarily teammates, but the game itself, the people around you, I don't think that it seems to be cringy or anything of that nature. It seems pretty fair. I wouldn't say it's the most incredible experience ever, but it's definitely something worth noting. I didn't think it was bad, so definitely a pro. I can also see myself coming back to play multiplayer fairly often, which is amazing. If I didn't see myself coming back to play multiplayer, then that would be an ultimate fail for the fucking game. That kind of strays back to the point where I said that the constant rewards entice people to play more. But again, just in general, seeing yourself coming back to play multiplayer is massive, even without trying to go for some crazy fucking rewards or like some massive prestige. Also, the gun balancing doesn't seem to be as much of an issue like it was in previous COD games, especially in Black Ops 3, but this will definitely change in the future. Unfortunately, I would imagine that as DLC gets released, there's going to be more guns and everything's going to become more unbalanced, because as you add guns to a game, you are creating more unbalance, or you are creating something that needs to be balanced on top of everything else that was probably previously balanced, so it gets more complicated. So like I said, I imagine that there's going to be more guns as the game continues to age, so I guess we'll see what happens with balancing in the future. There's a good amount of gun customization options that fit many players' playstyles. I noticed that right off the bat, and bringing back stickers was actually pretty cool. It's a pretty small point, honestly, but I do like the fact that they incorporated stickers in recent COD games, because I feel like it just gives a more personal and unique feel to your custom loadout rather than just looking like everybody else. So I do genuinely like when games do that. Also, the gun challenges for camos don't seem to be that ridiculous to do. Everything looks to be fairly easily acquired without being such a struggle to endure. And the dark matter camo is back, which I have to love that. That's pretty sick. Also, your level carries over from multiplayer to zombies, which I fucking adore. That's absolutely amazing. I love that. And the gestures that they brought back is actually a nice touch, and I'm glad they didn't exclude that. I wouldn't see a reason for them to exclude something like that in this game. When you can sell an environment or a world in a video game by doing things you would most likely probably do in that situation, I genuinely like that kind of thing. Going out of your way to do these things that seem pointless in a game's perspective isn't actually as pointless as many people might think it would be. The custom vehicle skins they have are for multiplayer and not just Warzone, which is also very nice. And the player identity customization options seem to be pretty solid. There's good titles with nothing really boring at all, even though the amount of emblems looks like it needs to be larger than the 56 I've seen. There's most likely more than this in the game, but I've only seen 56 as of right now. Fireteam is also a genuinely interesting game mode, and I absolutely love the concept, being able to split up, I'm pretty sure it was 40 players into 4 groups of 10. I find that amazing. I really do like that. It's an interesting concept. And the menus aren't necessarily confusing to navigate either. Everything's fairly straightforward, and I kind of like that. When there's too much complexity to a game, it becomes too much of a problem, but you also don't want a game to hold your fucking hand as you go through. Selecting your operator like in Warzone is back, and I like that a lot. And the featured game modes are a nice main multiplayer menu touch. I like when games throw up like a featured mode for the day, because it entices you to play a different mode than you're normally used to, kind of branching your horizon, and I do like that a lot. And lastly, the field upgrades are really fucking cheesy, but Treyarch seems to have designed them in such a way that they're not an overpowered nuisance like in Black Ops 3. Fuck the field/specialist abilities in that game. That shit made it broken, and I absolutely fucking hated it. It made absolutely no sense in that game. But the field upgrades in Cold War don't seem to be like that at all. They seem to be fairly well-rounded and not too unbelievably annoying.
Going blanky mode.
Now onto the cons for this game. Camping still exists. Of course it does. It's a Call of Duty game. Why would you expect any different? Corner camping is rampant in the game, and head glitching is cheesed to absolute shit. Everybody head glitches in this game. There's virtually no recoil on the guns whatsoever, which just doesn't make any sense, especially since Black Ops 1 had like crazy recoil on most of its guns. And sliding is essentially useless now. There's just no reason to slide at all, realistically. It just doesn't seem to serve as much of a purpose as you would kind of hope it would. Everything also feels really fucking stiff in the game. It just doesn't make any sense. There's really no flow to any movement at all. Like whenever you're running around and you go to aim up at your weapon, or again you slide or anything like that, everything just feels like it was programmed to just snap into place rather than have any actual kind of movement feeling to it, which means everything just feels stiff, and I don't really like that, to be honest. I like it when my games have some good flow to them. Everything just feels crazy stiff. Like when you aim in at one thing, there's like barely any weapon sway, and that's without attachments too. And I think one of the biggest pet peeves I have with this game is the fact that throwing grenades takes 10 fucking years to do. It takes so long to throw a grenade. There has been like countless times when I played through where I would go to throw a grenade and the person I was throwing the grenade at would already be way fucking gone, or it would take so long that as I was moving to throw the grenade, I would just hit a wall with it. It takes so fucking long. It's never taken so insanely long to just throw a frag grenade before. So that's a huge pet peeve in my opinion. And the chances of you dying while throwing one is just way high because of how long it takes. The health bars above players' heads also have got to go. There's no reason for them at all, and it makes the game look more futuristic than it should be. Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 didn't have health bars above people's heads, so why are they there? Why is that programmed into the base game? Get rid of that. That makes no sense. There's no reason for them to be there. Either they die or they don't. It doesn't matter how much you shot the guy realistically at all. If you shot the guy, you shot the guy. If they're low on health, they're low on health. You really don't need to know exactly how much. Like, this isn't CSGO. The map designs are not too bad, but they definitely could be better. They're really not the greatest that I've seen. I mean, I didn't really have too many problems with them, but there were some maps where if you were playing them for the first time, it was like confusing. Or if you were playing them a whole bunch, you would know like 30 different flanking points, which, you know, just makes it hard to hold down anything in the game. And the spawns are reminiscent of Modern Warfare 2. The gameplay footage that you might be watching right now, I'm not sure how far into the video the gameplay has gotten so far, but there's a sequence where I get a gunship, and basically what a gunship is, it's just an AC-130 from Modern Warfare 2, and I basically just light people up. Like, I get like insane amounts of kills just doing exactly what I learned from Modern Warfare 2, from switching between the 3 weapons, and everybody was spawning in the same spots over and over and over. The spawns are not good. The spawns are really bad, and honestly, if anybody gets really smart with this game, I can definitely see a team of people spawn trapping somebody, which is fucking awful. Another thing is that people absorb bullets like sponges sometimes, which has been a constant issue in all of the COD games leading up till now. Sometimes you'll just shoot somebody way more than you would expect them to die at, or way more than you're used to someone dying at, without even shooting at their feet or anything like that, and they just seem to absorb bullets. There's something weird about it, but if you've played any COD game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the score streaks fucking have to go. In this game, you're able to die and still achieve a high score streak even after death. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why is that a thing? It's like basically having like Modern Warfare 3 score streaks. But, you know, even in Modern Warfare 3, they had kill streaks, which were arguably better than the score streaks. But you don't have the ability to switch like that in this game, and I don't like the score streaks. I don't like them at all. I really think that they have to go. It should just be kill streaks, honestly. And the other thing is that this game just doesn't feel like a game that would take place between Black Ops 1 and 2. Cold War almost feels like a hybrid between Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 4, and Modern Warfare 2019, which is something you definitely don't want to fucking hear when you're making a game that's supposed to take place in between Black Ops 1 and 2. The amount of game modes seems to be chalked down to only what the majority of players played in the past COD games. Compared to MW2, this game literally does not have that much at all. I'll put 2 screenshots up on the screen right now so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. The game modes really just don't seem to be that extensive. Even when you pair up the normal modes and the hardcore modes, there's just really not that many games to play. This is not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but, you know, having variety is always a good thing. Another thing is the operators you can choose look like low budget knockoffs with 0 personality. This will most likely change as DLC releases down the line, but they literally look like the most bare bones people possible. There's absolutely no character to any operator, and honestly, I've had nothing that enticed me to want to select any of them. One really important thing I want to note is that the COD points make me want to fucking scream. Why? Get rid of them, please. I fucking hate this money-hungry kind of personality that these big companies like. Just please get rid of it. I don't see any reason for COD points to be here at all. If anything, it's just an indicator on the top of your screen that tells you, hey, you should probably invest money into this game that you've already probably spent $75 on for the cross-gen bundle, which is something I just don't like. I just don't really like that at all, and I really want them to fucking go. Lastly, there are barely any gun choices, which again will most likely change as DLC is released, but let's find out if that's a free DLC or not down the line. Chances are it will be free if it has to do with guns, but in Black Ops 3 that wasn't the case, so I'm not sure exactly what they're going to take or what route they're going to take in regards to this. There is one DLC as far as I've seen in the store right now, and it seems to just be customization options, so if they keep it that way, then I think that's essentially okay. I don't necessarily think it's okay to implore people to spend money on the game that they've already spent so much money on. But again, down the line, let's see what happens.
I can't talk about this right now, all right? I'm trying to capture a flag.
After all of these points I've made, I'm sure a bunch of you have either agreed or disagreed or already sent me death threats in the comments section. But regardless, most of you probably already have an opinion on how good this game is already, which is completely okay. A lot of people that I've come to notice watch reviews either because I already know how good the game is and want to see if other people think the same way, or the very small minority, which is kind of interesting considering these are review videos, who are actually looking to see whether or not they would like to purchase the game. But if your thoughts have changed at all, then please let me know in the comments section. I'd love to talk to you guys about what you think of this video and the points I've laid out for you. And maybe there's points that you guys know that I just genuinely haven't seen. But overall, Cold War's multiplayer has some promising things going for it. From graphics to gun feel to customization, the multiplayer does hold up fairly well, and I can see the aspirations that Treyarch has placed down for us to witness as this game continues to age. Going back to the style of play without the fucking dumb exosuits and jetpacks and shit, they're definitely taking a step in the right direction. The unfortunate part is that although the problems I listed with this game are not as extensive as the good parts, they're way more important to selling a game based around this era, and especially with the magnitude that COD has. Most of the cons that I listed dealt with the movement, in-game essentials like kill streaks, please get rid of score streaks, and merging of this game that's supposed to be reminiscent of an older COD, yet portrays a hybrid of more recent COD games instead. These cons are massive and definitely contribute to a worse overall experience as a result. By the way, the COD points absolutely have to go like no exceptions. It is also unfortunate that correcting any cons in this game will be extremely hard to do, as they look to be core features of the game and might tamper with the overall game if change were to happen. This goes for the majority of them, not all of them. Keep that in mind. I'm sure many of you are waiting to hear my final score for the game, except for those of you who already skipped to the end, but don't worry, I still love you. So here it is. I, Galactify, am personally giving Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War's multiplayer a 76 out of 100. Now, I'm sure some of you are discouraged by this score, especially those of you who are hardcore COD fanboys, but I'm hoping that the points I've listed in this video contribute to you understanding why this was the score I've given it. Also, keep in mind that this is just for multiplayer. The zombies and campaign portions will come out in the future, as soon as I can release them. I'm a fan of the many things that Cold War has brought to the table, and I'm grateful for their efforts to provide us with a solid game, but the problems are still glaring. If Treyarch decides to go out of their way to fix any issues I've listed with the game, then that's incredible, and I hope they pay attention to their consumer base, especially during these crucial times in Cold War's life. This is literally the beginning. They have to be paying attention as much as possible right now. Also, if you enjoy the game as of right now, then I'm super happy for you. If Cold War is the kind of game you're looking to play and be a part of its growth, then hats off to you, and I'm glad it's exactly what you were looking for after all this time. And if Cold War is not the kind of game you want it to be right now, then I'm sorry you feel that way, but just know that anything can happen in the future, and hopefully Treyarch attempts to make Cold War the best it can possibly be throughout this next year of Call of Duty. I sincerely hope that the majority of you guys really understand the points I've laid out and kind of get where I'm coming from. Let me know if you guys agreed or disagreed in the comments section below. If you guys did agree, then I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I would really appreciate if you guys gave it a like. If you're a fan of this kind of content that I produce, then please consider subscribing. It really does help me out and lets me know that what I'm doing is the kind of shit you guys want to see. And again, thank you to all the people who have helped me get this far in such a short amount of time. Like, I sincerely appreciate every single one of you. And at the end of the day, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. See you in the next one.
I've been holding all I own. I've been clutching all